Hey everybody, welcome to today's The Coffee Run Live. We are coming to you live on the 20th of April, or maybe you're listening to a replay. Who knows? What I wanted to say to you though is welcome. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about flirting. Now, what's really incredibly interesting to me is that this topic was raised at the event that I was running last week. And, you know, it sparked a really cool conversation in the sense that I was like, oh my gosh, you know, I would hate for someone to think that I was perhaps being manipulative or, you know, whatever, you know, something that was a little bit like wrong about or whatever. And what's really curious about that is that some of the other people in the room, and I've had this discussion with other people as well, it's kind of like, well, is it actually a bad thing to use what you've got? So to me, when we were talking, the things that were kind of coming up were that, you know, why is it a bad thing? If you are walking up to a bar, right, for instance, use this as an example, you're walking up to a bar and there's a whole ton of people that are standing there waiting to order their drinks. Now, if this was me, what I would do, I personally, I'll walk up to the bar and I'll kind of work out who I think was there before me, and then I'll stand there and I'm like eyeballing the bartender, doesn't matter if it's male, female, whatever. And I will try to make eye contact and I'll smile, right? So I'm like, I'm here. Now, what was interesting is that some people, and I know this to be true because I've witnessed this actually happen, some people will just kind of stand there and hope that they're going to get noticed. Other people will absolutely kind of big grin, you know, lean on the bar, lean in and try and magnetize the bartender to them. Now, part of me is like, well, of course, you know, I'm going to want to, I don't want to get left behind, right? I'm happy for the people who were there before me to be served first, but I absolutely expect, hey Liz, how are you? I absolutely expect that I should get served in order in which I have stood there. Now, some things that have happened to me are I'm little and I can sometimes kind of get a little bit overlooked. I feel like I get overlooked. So I kind of like when I'm walking up to the bar, one of the things that I would do is I imagine, and it's not a conscious thing, this happens unconsciously. I kind of imagine that my energy gets big and I assume that whoever is serving is going to catch my eye and realize that I'm up next and then, you know, come over and serve me. Now, what I was also thinking though, and what we were discussing last week, was a little bit like, well, you know, should we be using our feminine wiles or, you know, masculine energy in order to get what it is that we want? For me, my guiding rule of thumb is always, I don't want to lead anyone on, you know, like I would hate for someone to think, oh, you know, it's their problem, not mine, but I would hate for somebody to think that I'd manipulated them into, you know, serving me a drink, or that's not true. But, you know, like if there was an imaginary future promise, I guess that's what flirting, when I think about flirting, that's what I think about. It's like this promise of, you know, potentially what might come after that initial connection. And it's kind of a dance, right? But what was interesting is that when I reframed it from being, well, you know what, I don't ever want somebody to be led on, it would kind of be like in marketing world terminology and things like that. It's like the old bait and switch, right? So I lure you in under false pretenses that I'm going to help you, and then all I do is tell you, you know, all of the things that you're doing wrong, or I try and force you to buy something, or, you know, I don't provide any value and stuff like that. And you all know that I'm really incredibly passionate about making sure that you are getting value from me before I try and sell you something, right? I'm a business owner. I need to make sales. I need to make money. It's how I can keep doing the things that I do. But the bottom line is I want to build value-based relationships with you guys so that you can get results before you even work with me. So when I kind of like reframed it into the world of marketing, I was kind of like, well, this is a little bit like what we actually do with our content, right? We put our best selves out there. If you're flirting with somebody, you might be dialing up different parts of your personality. You might be, being extra nice. You might be, working whatever you've got, using what your mama gave you or whatever else it is that you've got going on. And I think the thing that happens is this, is that there are so many people out there are so many flirts out there, for instance, that can lead people on and then they can end up in a whole strife of trouble, a whole world of trouble. There is a lot of people out there that are doing that old bait and switch bullshit thing that just makes me really mad. That actually, if we reframe this idea of flirting to be, in marketing, what we're actually doing is we're putting our best foot forwards, we're putting our whole self out there, and we're doing all of the things that we possibly can to help our audience get to know us, to get a really positive, awesome, impactful experience of us and what we're here to do. And that can be through providing like hints, tips, advice, motivation, inspiration, whatever the case might be. So here are a couple of things that I thought that I wanted to highlight for you. So if you're thinking about putting your best foot forward, the thing that is freaking awesome and freaking amazing about you, yes, I'm looking at you, is your personality. Now, it doesn't bother me whether you're introverted, extroverted, an ambivert, whatever. I don't care what your personality is. I mean, I care about you, but I don't care what your personality is. You have got an amazing personality. You know this because you've got friends who love you, you've got family who love you, you've got partners who love you, you've got children who love you. You have got an amazing personality. What I want you to think about is, are there parts of your personality that you can dial up and use through your marketing to kind of like woo your audience, right? So think about it like flirting. If you're single and you want to meet someone and you're going out to the bar and you want to get a drink and you want someone to buy you a drink, for instance, then you're going to kind of like naturally be a bit more relaxed. You're kind of going to lean in a little bit. You might show a little bit of shoulder, whatever it might be. You might not, whatever. But you're probably going to engage in some kind of conversation. You're probably going to ask questions. You're probably going to share a bit about yourself, right? And your personality, what you like, what you dislike, all of that kind of thing. The other thing that I thought that would be really important, that I actually know is super important in the world of online marketing and actually the world of any sort of marketing. Leverage your lifestyle. If we are using all of the elements that are available to us, and so many people only use one. They use the area in which they're educated. They use the area in which they're super knowledgeable. They use the areas only relating to their business. Now that's great, but if there's two of you at the bar and the bar guy or the bar girl is like looking and they're trying to determine who's next, who they're going to talk to, like if you're kind of like leaning in with a nice warm smile or whatever, it helps to cut through the noise. Leveraging your lifestyle and showing people about your lifestyle is more important than I can even possibly let you know. The reason is this: people are like disco balls. We've got different things that stop us in our tracks. We've got different things that make us go, or make us go, wow, or make us go, yeah, that's really interesting. That's super insightful. Yeah, like I can see why that person did that. Wow, it shares their values. So it shares your values with your audience. And that is the biggest connector and the biggest magnet that you can possibly ever really use. And when you're sharing a bit about your lifestyle, that shows your audience a bit about what your values are. So for instance, I was away last week, as you know, on the Gold Coast and came home late. Thanks, Qantas. But that's okay. I got home in time for skating, so that was all that really mattered. And I shared a photo of my husband and I, like in the car when he picked me up. We share photos of working out, or not necessarily working out, but on the gym or the way home from the gym. I share a bit about my life with you guys because I think it's important. I think it's important that you see that I'm walking my talk, right? I'm ultimately, what I'm selling to you is visibility, choice, freedom, but most importantly, the ability for you to be you, for you to be able to show up and be yourself online, and that people will love you for it, people will resonate with you, and that you can build a business where you're being exactly who you are rather than trying to be super professional or super perfect or whatever. Like, I'm far from that. I shared a photo yesterday of the wardrobe that was my bedroom after emptying my suitcase and my stuff almost being put away and Dom's shit was everywhere and it was just ridiculous. It's not normally like that. And what was interesting was that it sparked some comments, right? Because, you know, that's just what that stuff does. People like to know. People assume when you're out there only putting out there the, you know, perfect relationship photos, or, you know, like my husband and I are crazy in love at the moment. You know, it all goes through stages, right? But we're really excellent at the minute and we really love enjoying each other's company. And like, we're having a blast. We're having a great time doing life together right now. But that is not without its challenges, as you know, right? There are times when things get frustrating. There's times when I don't pull my weight. There's times when he doesn't pull his weight. There are times when we disagree. There's times where he'll say, babe, I'm off to baseball. And I'm like, oh, I fucking hate baseball. And I'm like, I'm off to skating. And he's like, okay, have fun. And I feel like an asshole because, you know, I would rather have him home with me when I'm home. When I'm not home, I don't care. It's fine. You do what you like. So, you know, there's always different times where different things happen. And I think it's really important that people get a real idea about what's actually going on. So leveraging your lifestyle, putting stuff out there helps people to see a bit of behind that perfect curtain, or behind the professional photo shoot photos, or behind this idyllic lifestyle that people might think that you have. And yeah, 90% of the time it's fantastic, but we all have those 10% of the times where, quite frankly, it's shit, right? Now, one of the other things that I want you to do, if we're thinking about flirting with our audience and helping to build relationships and, you know, using what we've got, one of the things that I think is under talked about actually are your looks. Now, you might not look like the person that you want to look like. You might not look like or have the body that you might prefer, or whatever the case might be, but your looks matter and you are gorgeous. You are amazing. You are on fire. Like your heart, your soul is beautiful, and that comes shining out through your face. Your looks matter. When we're marketing. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to go in and imagine that you're a supermodel or go have professional photo shoots or whatever. I want to see your beautiful face all over the internet. One of the things that I said last week in the room with a photographer, actually, I said the thing that most people get really afraid of or get really scared of is having their face as their logo. Now, again, if you want to cut through the noise, if you want to stand out and be seen, if you want people to remember you, the best thing that you can possibly do is share that gorgeous face of yours everywhere that you can possibly be. I, for example, want my face and my name to be synonymous with visibility, to be synonymous with inspiration, to be synonymous with, you know, get yourself out there and make shit happen, girlfriend. You know, the world is waiting for you. So, and like stepping into the spotlight. So I make sure that I've got photos of me absolutely everywhere. I do quite like how I look. Not all the time, but most of the time. But my point here is that I want people. This happened actually on we flew to Bali in 2018, and I'd been in business for 8 years by that point, and I'm like omnipresent. I was like, I want to be everywhere. I want people to see my face and go, oh, I know that girl. Who is she? I know her from Facebook. Oh, she's everywhere. Oh, that's that Nicola chick. right? That's actually what I want people saying about me, because, you know, I'm selling visibility. So I've got to be out there in a really massive big way. Now, we flew to Bali in 2018, and as we're walking off the plane, one of the air hostesses, I think that's politically correct still, is it? I don't know. Let me know. One of the fabulous air hostesses that was looking after us on the flight said, "Oh, I know you. You're Nicola Barras, aren't you? I know you from Facebook." And I've gone, "Oh, it's really funny. Yes, I am." She's like, "Oh, have a great holiday." I said, "Oh, thank you." She's like, "Oh, I love your stuff. You know, I love what you put out there." And I said, "Oh, that's really awesome. Thank you." I got so embarrassed. My face. You guys, like, if I'm at work, then, you know, I'm on point. I'm in my thing. I'm doing my, you know, I'm all over it. That's fine. Take me out of work and put me in a situation where it's not the Nicola show, right? And I was mortified. My face went bright red. I was so embarrassed. I'm like, oh my God. But at the same time, like, oh, that was really amazing. I've had people yell at me across car parks, and, you know, in a good way. Hey, Shannon, how are you? Hi, Tracy. In a really good way, because they recognized me and they said, "Oh, like, I just want to say thank you for, you know, what it is that you do. You're amazing." I'm like, "Oh my God, thank you very much." I find it so awkward. I love it, but I'm dying in the inside of, like, bright red face. My tomato face comes out in the space of 3 seconds flat, and I'm dead. Not really dead, but, you know, pretty dead. So using your personality, leveraging your lifestyle, using your looks, treating your face instead, you know, people are like, "Oh, I've got to go get a logo. I've got to go and do this." Bullshit. Your face is your logo. Use your face everywhere that you possibly can. Ideally, I would also prefer that you use your name as your business name. Oh, thanks, Rebecca. I was mortified. I love it, but I hate it, because it's like, I don't want it. You know, I'm happy for the spotlight to be on me when it's the you know, when I'm helping you guys, but it's just, oh my gosh. And then at the same time, I'd hate for someone to say, "Oh, I wanted to come up and say hi, but I was really scared." Like, I'd be like dead. Like, "Oh no, come and say hi to me." I might die on the floor, and, like, you know, this shame that not shame, but like this mortification, this embarrassment that it feels like I'm going to self-combust. I strive to be approachable. So, you know, it's lovely, but I find it really awkward and weird. But anyway, that's why we're here. So use your face. Your looks matter. Use your face as your logo. You don't need a logo. I literally had a logo designed, and it was like just a little chakra symbol to go with my name in 2000 and I don't know, like 18 or something, 2000, maybe 17. And I literally had my website rebuilt. You might have seen it. It's amazing. First time I've been like, "Oh my God, my website's hot." Like, I love it. For the first time ever, I had my name with the lightning bolt in the middle. And I've been using that now. So that was like November last year. I think that went live. So you guys, I've been in business for 11 years, and I got my first logo that goes along with everything in, you know, 2018, 2017, or somewhere around there. So your face is your logo. The next thing that you want to use are your knowledge, your wit, and your know-how. So it's really curious, because I think most of us are really good at this point, actually, right? And the biggest thing that I want you to think about, like, even when you're flirting, right, and you're building these relationships, it's okay if somebody says, "Oh, so, you know, what is it that you do?" And I've got two responses that I will use. If I'm in a conversation where I'm kind of like, where I don't want to talk about work, or I don't want to talk about visibility, or I don't want to talk about any of the stuff and the things, I'll just say, "Oh, I teach online marketing." Oh, like in the Uber. So I was in the Uber from a hotel on the Gold Coast to the airport on Saturday morning before I knew my flight was delayed. And traffic up there is insane at the minute. It's completely ridiculous. It normally takes half an hour to get from Surfers Paradise out to Coolangatta, and I think it took nearly an hour to get the same distance. It was completely nuts. And I don't like talking to the Uber drivers, so in one of the preferences it says quiet preferred, and I can have the temperature warm. It was the best. And I made the mistake of commenting on the traffic, and then next minute my Uber driver kept talking constantly. But he said, oh, so, what do you do? And I was like, oh, I teach online marketing, because I'm just like, don't want to have this conversation. I just want to kind of like chill, drink my coffee, get to the airport. And that was that. So that's the standard response. So have a standard response ready. So, we're talking about marketing / flirting / building audiences and all the rest of it. There will be times where you're like, I don't really want to talk about what I do, but there will be times where you will want to talk about what it is that you do. So what I say is this, I'll go, oh my God, I'm so lucky. Do you know what I get to do every day? I get to put my fingers inside of people's brains and pull out the most amazing things that they can use for content and online programs, and I help them make money, and oh my gosh, it's just the best thing ever. And they're like, wait, what? Who out there says that they put their fingers inside of other people's brains and pull shit out? I don't know anybody else that says something like that. So the first response does not instigate further conversation. The second response, definitely, every time I say that, they're like, oh, what? Tell me more. That sounds really cool. And then I'll explain it in a bit more detail without the flair. So if you're flirting, for example, to put this in a real life example, and somebody says, oh, so what do you do? Oh, I'm a blah, blah. Like if you kind of make it really deadpan, the chances of that, perhaps that bar person example or somebody sitting next to you example, they're probably not going to say, oh, cool, that's really awesome. Hey, tell me a bit more about that. What are you doing? I was in the lift at the QT hotel last week, and two guys walked in with a massive camera rig and this and the other, and I've got, oh, what are you guys doing? Oh, we're filming a documentary. I've got, oh, wow. What are you filming a documentary about? I said, oh, all about imagery. And I said, oh, what kind of things? Oh, stuff out and about. And I'm like, far, I was pulling fucking teeth, actually. But if they hadn't wanted to have a conversation with me, they could have just said, nothing. Or they could have said, we're just filming some stuff or whatever, because I was my curiosity was piqued to kind of go, oh, tell me a bit more, tell me a bit more, tell me a bit more. And they're like, oh, what are you doing here? And I said, oh, I'm here for work. Or they think they might have said, oh, you're here on holiday. So no, I'm here for work. I've just run an event actually on visual branding. And they kind of like, oh, that's cool. And then the floor dinged and off they went. So, some people might have said that was flirting. I definitely didn't see it as flirting because it wasn't like that next promise, but it was certainly this engaging in conversation about, oh, wow, that's really cool. Tell me a bit more about that. Right, Rebecca? Always curious, always curious. It's really fun. And, in the lifts, they're so funny because I'm like, morning. Everyone's a bit friendly. So that's that. So the key to using what your mama gave you and the other things that you have learned are these: using your personality, using your lifestyle, using your looks, your face. They actually matter more than what you could possibly imagine. Of course, using your knowledge and your know-how. And I want you to reframe that this is actually, instead of it being oh, this is really awkward, or I don't like talking about myself, or I don't like asking questions, or I don't know what to say, or blah, 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 whatever. I want you to remember this key thing. The way that people can get to know you is by you having conversations with them. Now, when we're online, obviously it can be a little bit harder, but if you're taking exactly what Rebecca just said about being always curious, if you're always curious about somebody else and you're leveraging everything that you've got, you've already got a body, you've already got a brain, you've already got a mind, you've already got a personality. I suspect that you're probably pretty fucking funny because you're in my world. I think you're probably pretty badass, even if it's an entry-level badass or a badass rock star badass. I know that you've got all of this about you. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in my world. It's just not, it wouldn't work. It would fall flat. And then you would be oh, this is really boring and I'm out of here. So use all of those things. Flirt with your audience if that helps you to have some context. Think about always putting your absolute best assets out there and using everything that you've got, because quite frankly, the online world is so fucking noisy that if you are hesitating, if you're not doing this, then all of those people that you really, really want to help, all those people that you want to reach, all those people that you want to have a massive impact with, guess what happens? They don't get to know you. They don't get to see you. They don't get to learn from you. They don't get to follow you. They don't get to do any of that stuff, right? And then they go walking through the world not knowing that you even freaking exist. And that's really sad because they need you, right? Your people need you. That's the bottom line with everything. So on that note, I am, of course, going to love you and leave you because we are going to get into the rest of the day and I want to set you free. So you know what you need to do. You need to get yourself out there, go help some people, have a whole ton of fun doing it. I will put these little steps up, of course, into the comments after we have finished up today. Let me know that this has been helpful, or if you've got any questions about this or anything else, make sure you let me know. We have got Contentology starting on the 1st of May, which is a very amazing competition where you can literally win $1,000, where I transfer you $1,000 if you are the winner, and I'll send you a crown because why the frick not? I think we should all have crowns and get crowns that are because we've won something. I think it's awesome. So that is that, my friends. The link will go up in here a little bit later. Have an awesome day. And if I don't see you before, I would most definitely see you tomorrow. Take care and have fun.